Hi INFJs and Autistic INFJs, welcome back to my channel. Do you ever look around and think, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind? That everyone else has it figured out and here I am just starting to understand myself. And then that triggers that deep inner voice that's super mean that comes out and starts reminding us how weird we are, how dumb we are, how we're such a failure. And maybe it might even say you're always going to be a failure because you're so far behind. Can you relate to that? I can drastically. Can drastically relate to that. My inner voice can be very mean. If you're an INFJ or an autistic INFJ, this feeling isn't just common. It's deeply rooted in the way our brain has had to adapt to a world that just wasn't built for us. But what if I told you that you weren't actually behind at all? It's something to think about, isn't it? In today's video, I'm diving into why neurodivergent INFJs and neurotypical INFJs feel like they're so behind in life. We always feel like we're so behind in life. Why that feeling is valid, but also why it just isn't true. I'm going to help you understand what really causes this, how masking and misalignment has shaped our path, and why discovering ourselves now is actually perfect timing no matter what stage in life you're in. I think it's going to be a great video. I love this topic. This has come up quite a few times in comments on my videos and also from people reaching out to me through email. They mentioned that they're too old to be starting over and they feel like they're so far behind in life and they really come down on themselves because of their age. So I think this video will hit home for a lot of you. I know it did for me when I was unpacking all this. So welcome to my channel. If we haven't met before, my name's Trina. I'm an INFJ and I'm also autistic. I created this channel just because I wanted to help people like myself understand who they are so they can feel good in their skin, because I know all too well what it feels like to feel horrible inside your body and just not want to have anything to do with it. I also wanted somewhere I could share resources, things that I know have worked for me and I know are going to work for other people like myself. So don't forget to check out the resource section in the description of this video. I updated it. There's some pretty cool resources in there right now. So welcome to my channel. I hope you find it helpful. If you're returning, welcome back. I am grateful for all of you guys. You are all amazing. I have amazing viewers and I love you all. I invite you, if you haven't yet, to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate the support. Before we get going, I do want to share with you one of my new favorite classes. I didn't write it. I can't take credit. I wish I could, but I can't because it's an amazing class. It's Guide to Navigating Sensitivity Overload. And why do I love this class so much? For one, because it's written by one of my favorite people. I call her Dr. Julia. She's amazing. But for two, it was written by, yes, her, but she's also neurodivergent. She is autistic. So she writes her classes based on her experiences. She knows what she's talking about because she lives it every day. So her classes are amazing. This one, if you are high sensitive, which most INFJs and neurodivergent INFJs are, this might be something that you want to lean in and listen to, especially if you feel like the world is just too much. You've been called a crybaby, called a sissy. You've tried to hide your sensitivity because it's made you feel bad, but inside you're like exploding because there's just too much going on around you. Then this might be for you. It provides practical research-backed strategies to help us regulate our nervous system and create a more supportive sensory environment. And that is so powerful. It offers so much more, but I don't want to keep you guys too long. If you want more information about this class, head to the link in the description of my video and follow it and you can get more information. Okay, let's get into this. Why we feel so behind in life. Can you relate to this? I know many of you can. I don't know if I've already said this. I get emailed and I see lots of comments come up relating to this, that people feel really bad about themselves or they'll come down on themselves because of where they are in life and they're just finally figuring out who they are. So I think this is going to be a very beneficial topic. So why we feel behind in life. Honestly, and not to play the victim here, so don't get me wrong, I'm not playing the victim, but this is honestly, it's because we weren't given the same starting point as everybody else. Most of us, and you know what's interesting about this? I talk to mostly INFJs and neurodivergent INFJs. Now, if you're not an INFJ, because I do know quite a few of my viewers watch this because they've got an INFJ in their life, which I think that's awesome that you're trying to learn about that person. That means a lot. This just actually isn't specific for INFJs. There are a lot of people that will actually relate to this. So for most of us, masking was just part of our life. That's what we did. We were the peacekeepers, the high achievers. We were mature for our age kind of kid, right? Because we were just trying to survive in an environment that didn't reflect who we truly were. And for many of us, it just wasn't safe to be ourselves. Instead of being guided into alignment, we were praised for fitting in. We were rewarded for not being ourselves. Crazy, isn't it? To think about it, that's basically our experience. We were rewarded, we were praised, we were loved for not being ourselves. Many of us, we were pushed away, we were humiliated, we were, the list goes on, when we actually let our true colors shine. So of course, we fell behind because we never let ourselves be our true selves. We were busy surviving. We were busy protecting ourselves from being too much, too sensitive, too weird. Then we were busy dealing with the inner turmoil that caused for us. So why we're not actually behind? Now this is where it kind of gets interesting. Here's the truth that nobody tells you. You're not behind, you're waking up. You're just waking up. That's all it is. What's interesting about this is most people never do. Now, stick with me on this. If you have watched my other videos, you have heard me talk about how INFJs often reflect things in others that they're not ready to face. That's why people will push us away, reject us, not want us around. Think about how many times that has happened to you. Even in your adult life, how many times have you been pushed away? I mean, it happens to me still all the time. That's because we reflect to people things that they don't want to see. It's easier to avoid the mirror than it is to look into it. But you're choosing to look into it. You're not running from it. You're walking straight into the truth. That's amazing. You're doing something that takes an incredible amount of courage. Looking at our own life honestly, shedding those old identities, and finally making choices that are aligned with who you really are. Think about this. Going back, how many times were you pushed away when you reflected something to somebody that they didn't want to see in themselves because it scared them? I mean, for some of us, it might have even happened this week. It happens quite often. So think of it on the grand scale of things. How many people don't ever want to look at themselves that way? And here you are doing it. That's a win. Give yourself a pat on the back. You're not behind at all. In fact, you're ahead of most people. It's not too late. It's right on time. And I know that sounds like a cliche. Whether you're 29 or 69, the moment you understand yourself is not the end. That's what we think. We automatically think that's the end, but it's the beginning. It's the start of a new chapter. And like I said, I know this sounds like a cliche, but hear me out. Most INFJs are what people call late bloomers. We spend the first half of our lives living in survival mode, right? Most INFJs are what... Nope, I already said that. Again, my videos are unedited, so that's not getting edited out. My oops. So let's get back on track. We spend the first half of our lives living in survival mode, meeting others' expectations, masking, blending, keeping peace, whatever it may be, right? We were never really taught how to live as ourselves. So of course, it takes time. Statistically, many INFJs don't begin to fully live in alignment until much later in life. Did you know that? Like well into our 40s, 50s, and many INFJs are well into their 60s or beyond before they really embrace who they are and start living the life that they want to live. And the unlearning that we're busy doing, that's sacred work. Everything that you've lived through up until this point has given you depth, the empathy, the insight that you carry now. I don't know how many of you are spiritual. I am very spiritual. I'm not going to preach to you about spirituality, but if you are in the spiritual world, and I know many INFJs are drawn to that, one thing that will come up is to be grateful for every experience in your life, right? Because we want to be grateful. We want to give thanks to everybody in our life, even if they have done horrible things to us. Why? Because all of that experience, good and bad, have shaped who we are. What's interesting about having that thought process is that when you're grateful for all the experiences in your life, whether they're good or bad, the bad experiences, it takes the power away from them. So you know how we'll ruminate and reflect over past experiences and try to figure out why somebody could be this evil and do stuff like that to us. And if you're an INFJ, you get where I'm going with this. Once we step into being grateful for those experiences because it shaped us to who we are, it takes the power away from it. So that when it does come back up and we're ruminating about it, we come from a different angle and we're like, you know what? If it wasn't for that experience, yep, it was crappy, I wouldn't be who I am today. That was a little bit off topic, but for some reason, I just really had to put that in there because it kind of does relate to, it's not too late, we're right on time. We had to have all those experiences to create who we are today. So they shape not just who we are, but who we needed to become in order to live this next chapter consciously. That's huge. That's why it's right on time. Because now, and I know this to be true because you're here watching this video with me, this is helping yourself grow. You're finally living from truth, not conditioning. That's a win. Acknowledge it. Give yourself a pat on the back. Even just acknowledge it to yourself. You know what? Yeah, that's a win. That's a win for me. You didn't miss the moment. You're only just arriving. If you've ever said to yourself, I've wasted so much time, I used to say that all the time. Or I would be, if I hadn't wasted so much time, how far I would be. I'd be so much better off where I am now because all my ducks are starting to fall into line and in a row, however that saying goes. And if I would have started in my early 20s, how much further ahead I would be now. No, I wouldn't have been. There were so many experiences I had to have that helped create who I am right now today. So I want you to hear this. You didn't waste time. You lived without a map and now you have one. When we don't really know where we're going and we definitely don't have a map, how the heck are we supposed to know how to get there? It's a little bit confusing when you think of it, but now you have the map and you're finally finding your way home. And that, my friends, is the most beautiful part of the journey. It truly is. I hope this was helpful for you. If this hit home, I'd love to hear from you. What's something that you've recently discovered about yourself that has shifted everything? I would love to hear it, and other people would love to hear it because it really helps each other grow. We help each other grow, and that is powerful, helping each other. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Again, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to check out that new course that I love so much, the Guide to Navigating Sensitivity Overload. Link is in the description of this video. Feel free to share this video. The more times it's shared, the more INFJs we get to help, and that's what it's all about. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate the support. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye for now.